Well, it is so cold. The roads are so bad. There's so many cars and trucks in the ditch. The officer behind me in the high-vis vest is telling everyone that the entire court is canceled today. No judge, no prosecutors, no nothing. The doors will remain locked. They have shoveled the walk, but just too many people couldn't make it in this inclement weather. I should tell you that as I drove down from Calgary this morning, I saw probably half a dozen vehicles in the ditch, including some very large semi-trailers. It was, at some points, visibility was maybe 50 feet. So I'm not surprised that court is canceled. It sounds like everything will be put over till next week. Either I'll be here or we'll have another journalist here from the Rebel covering it. I think it's a very important story because it's a story not just of ordinary crime. I mean, there are robberies all the time. That doesn't raise to the level of news that we would normally cover here at the Rebel. But it was a political crime, and I wouldn't quite go so far as to call it terrorism because they were so cowardly, and it's hard to be terrified by an anemic vegetarian. But the Hutterites, who were chosen specifically because they're Christian and pacifist, so they would be compliant victims. And of course, the animal rights extremists who are running the show are doing this for political reasons. They want to shut down meat and all farming. It's an outrageous thing to have a farm invasion of a Christian, basically family commune farm, chosen because they're so pacifist. But far more concerning to me, actually, was the fact that the police let these people go for a month. No, worse than that. The police were there as they occupied the turkey farm and didn't kick them out, didn't arrest them. In fact, they negotiated terms with the animal rights extremists and the farmers, which included the farmers giving 5 turkeys to the thieves to go with. I mean, I bet those turkeys, by the way, I bet they probably died. I mean, these people don't know how to handle turkeys. That made me mad. It made me mad when I later discovered that one of the people who in fact was supposed to be on trial today, Maxwell Ma is his name, was a global news reporter. And my theory is that this was sort of an inside job, a media job. He was the liaison that tipped off Global, and Global knew about this obviously, but didn't mention it at all until he was charged. And finally, why did it take a month to charge these people? The police had their names. They were there for hours. They had their photos. They had everything well documented. Why did the police let them go? And why did it take a month for Doug Schweitzer, the left-wing attorney general in Alberta, to put charges? And why the most minor charges possible? You know, he could have charged conspiracy. He could have had a RICO-style criminal organization charge. He could have charged the masterminds behind it. He could have charged them with many more things. They were literally charged with the lowest possible charges that could be made. So I came all the way to Fort Macleod today. I flew in from Toronto and then I drove down in the snow, but I don't mind because this is an important story for the reasons I've outlined. I'm making my way back to my car. As you can see, it is so cold here. I was hoping to warm up in the court, but I'm going to get into the car and take a careful drive back up to Calgary because the roads are horrendous. But this is an important case to us, and I know that you'll be able to rely on us to report accurately and in defense of these farmers, their property rights, and against the extremists that are targeting them. By the way, don't think that oil and gas extremists aren't following this case just as closely as we are, because they know that how these animal rights extremists are treated or let go is a prototype for how they will too. That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.